So let's move on to story number 3 now. For story number 3, we have
shame.
So this was actually a pretty huge news thing, and it's Howard University, not to be confused with Harvard. School was not in session on this Tuesday because they detected unusual activity on the Friday before Labor Day. And I just want to point out that the CISA of United States did mention that be careful, because before the Labor Day weekend, there's going to be some sort of activity and hackers are going to be prevalent. So that's exactly what happened in Howard University. And they were hit by a suspected ransomware attack. What do you guys think about this story?
So Howard's a well-known university. I think they're the most famous historically Black college. You know, and they're actually a very well-respected school. I think that for them to shut down, that means that there was not a suspected attack. There was very much some serious ransomware going around. And honestly, if you have ransomware that is spreading, you got to do it. Just you have to take whatever measures you need. If that means canceling classes, if that means turning the network off, if that means turning off power to all the buildings, like you're in a situation that it only goes from bad to worse. And so I think they did the right thing. Hopefully it's not ransomware, but if it is, you know, they have to make sort of a devil's bargain. Do they pay the ransom, or do they potentially deal with days or weeks of downtime?
Yeah, these are really, I mean, these are really significant disruptions. And so, you know, as ransomware spreads, I think a lot of people think about ransomware prevention in terms of ROI, how much we would have to pay. But you need to think about it in terms of its disruptive quality and in terms of reputational damage.
Well, there's reputation, but there's loss of education. I mean, this is not going to end in a death, but I would not be surprised by end of year if ransomware ends in at least one death. And I think that people think of hacking and computer crime as this fun little folksy thing that only happens on the internet. But it's a serious cyber attack. And if it is sponsored or if it is assisted by state governments, you know, then when does it go from being, you know, a cyber attack to the beginning of something more serious?
We were at DEF CON 2021 and we were in the car hacking village. So right now, you know, it's not in terms of the price the university has to pay. It's in the price that the students are paying in tuition, you know, with not receiving their education. And it's the same thing if you think about something like car hacking, or you think about biohacking. You know, these attacks are affecting, you can call them consumers, but they're really just interested parties, civilians, in ways that I think have come to the forefront for the first time. It's the same thing with Colonial Pipeline. You know, there have been increasing number of ransomware attacks until it cut off 60% of the fuel supply to the East Coast for 6 days, and then it was headline news. Or until it stops a student from taking the course that they wanted to take, or until it stops somebody's pacemaker, or stops somebody's car while it's on the road. It's a big deal.
Yeah, from a technical standpoint, what jumped out at me was, if anyone has ever worked with any sort of IT within U.S. academic institutions, they would know that each individual university is completely fragmented. Each individual department has their own network. Each lab has their own server and things like that. If they're able to basically take down multiple services across the whole university, that's a pretty impressive attack.
Sure. Well, I mean, I'll tell you one thing from understanding some of the ways that university infrastructures work is shared printers sometimes jump between networks, you know, and there have been a number of attacks that are exploiting out-of-date printer versions to jump from network to network and spread these kinds of attacks.
Well, and I used to sell data center software, and every university and every company really, they use images, and those images are only periodically updated. And so if you can find an exploit on one image, you can find an exploit on every computer that that image has been deployed to. So I'm sure whatever they found was some well-known vulnerability that was already weaponized, and they were just going from machine to machine doing discovery and then just taking over each one and deploying ransomware.
By the way, this is only expert analysis. We are not telling anybody how to commit this crime. We're just
Not at all.
you know, maybe if we were going to put ourselves in the brain of the people committing it, what we might want to do.
So
People don't do ransomware.
the problem with any organization is that if you can exploit one computer, you can often exploit hundreds of computers, and so that's why they shut down the network. It's not because it's some sort of magic virus that's going from computer to computer. It's just they were using literally the same software across the board.